Data security here with Expatis on March 10th. Listen, I wanted to share an update on the security situation here in Tunisia. I think the International Crisis Group, they recently put out an article, which I'm going to be covering in this video, that gives you good perspective and insights and analysis as to the situation here in Tunisia, the security situation, the events that took place in Ben Guerdane, the important event that took place in Ben Guerdane, the attack, and what that implies, and how things could play out here moving forward. So I hope you find this information useful. So let's get into it right away. Tunisia, he highlights in his article that Tunisia should expect further attacks and prepare to mitigate their impacts by bearing in mind 7 key points. So point number 1, he points out that this was no simple terrorist attack. So the assault started on the army barracks, the local headquarters of the National Guard, and the city's police station. This was also accompanied by 3 target assassinations of a customs officer, a police officer, and a member of the counterterrorism unit of the National Guard. So more than just a simple terrorist attack, it was an attempt at a local insurrection coordinated by some 50 members of IS sleeper cells in Ben Guerdane. Very important to know that. Point number 2, he says that there were too few IS forces and they made mistakes. All right, so according to this article, once again, it says that Tunisia's army, National Guard, and police should redouble their vigilance and rapidly draw operational and strategic lessons. Very important to note here is that a few kilometers from Ben Guerdane, Zarsis, a nexus of illegal migration towards Europe, or Jerba, a touristic hub and center of Tunisia's Jewish community, could be targeted. In the west of the country, jihadis operating in the forested mountains along the border with Algeria could also take advantage of any new crisis to attack nearby Castrin or reach as far as central Sidi Bouzid. So a lot of times expats ask me, what are the areas to avoid? Where should they exercise extreme security awareness? I think you just heard some areas right there in point number 2. Moving on along, point 3, a regional response is needed. He talks about that the attempted insurrection in Ben Guerdane is not just a Tunisian-Libyan affair, but a regional problem that demands a regional response. So a lot of this advice is going towards the government and officials in that regard. So I'm going to kind of skip over some of those points and just talk about how we can take this information to improve our security posture. So he goes into the geography, the ideology behind this, and where's the strategic importance of Ben Guerdane and why IS is targeting it, which is very interesting. But he talks about the city's business life and how it's long been dominated by a parallel economy based on the informal foreign currency exchange market and smuggling, and how this could become a convergence point between jihadis and regional criminal networks. So a lot of challenges down there. Point number 4, this is not a time to settle scores. Once again, he gives advice to the political class here in Tunisia and the media, and he just gives them advice how they should avoid any attempt to take advantage of the attack, to settle scores, and to begin this sort of Islamist secularist divide. So he's just advising people to take a calm examination of the facts. Number 5, moving on to number 5, he talks about that, he makes a good point actually, that the attacks over the past year on the Bardo Museum in Tunis in March, a tourist resort in Sousse in June, and the Presidential Guard in November have weakened the old discourse of national unity advanced by the political class. And he says that Tunisia will have to do more to preserve the culture of compromise and civil society inclusion in 2013-2014, which is what led to the Tunisian National Dialogue Quartet receiving the 2015 Nobel Peace Prize. So calling sort of for people to take that higher road to talk, which we're seeing some of that already. And we're also, unfortunately, seeing the negative part of what he's calling not to do. Point number 6, security forces should react in a measured manner. Again, he goes in, a lot of this is political. He goes into the wave of mass and indiscriminate arrest should be avoided. But we're already seeing a lot of that, a lot of arrests taking place throughout the country, as would be expected. There's a lot of nervous energy and so forth. So not much that we can do in that regard. Finally, the last point talks about a local cooperation will be needed to increase security. So he says that the Tunisia-Libya border cannot be secured without the close collaboration of the local population, especially the smuggling cartels operating in the area. So a lot of interesting points to this article. Once again, you can read the full article on the Crisis Group's website, which I will post a link in this video. So once again, a very interesting article offering good analysis, and there's a lot of things that we can take as expats from this article to improve our security posture. Number one is that we should keep in mind that this incident that took place in Ben Guerdane is not a one-off. That there will be more challenges ahead for Tunisia. So that we should take basic precautions, as I constantly say, about your personal security. And there's a lot of information out there. I've posted it on the website, www.tunisiasecurityupdate.com. There's also a lot of information on the YouTube channel at Expatis. So that's my update for today. I hope that you got something from this. Feel free to send in your questions and comments at David Security, or you could just post it on this video below.